Good to meet you all. I'm Jake. I'm one of the founders of Mito. Mito is a suite of tools that help people do analysis and automations in Python, but often coming from a spreadsheet background or more of a business side background than like a trained data scientist necessarily, although lots of data scientists use our tooling as well. But essentially trying to make the easiest way for people to access the benefits of Python and automation and data science, but relying on AI to help with some of the coding and allowing you to use your business mastery to get the automations and analysis done. So I'll share my screen in 1 second. Let me just get this here. Hmm. Okay. Oops, sorry. Okay. All right. Share my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
We can see you're good.
Awesome. So this is Jupyter. Sure, if you know anything about Python and you're familiar with Jupyter, it's the most common interface for Python-based data science analysis. Our tooling is all extensions into Jupyter. We have some like desktop offerings as well, but these are all extensions you can add right to your Jupyter environment if you're already using it. If you're not using Jupyter, you can just think about this as the environment where you would use Python, and our tooling makes it really easy to get started with. Um, I'll say before I keep going, please, please, please stop me with questions. I think we have an hour here. I certainly don't need to use all that time. And we have a smaller group, so we can even launch into full-on discussions even. So yeah, if anything comes up, just stop me at any point and I'll pause and explain more. So we have our notebook here. And on the left here we have the Mito AI data copilot functionality, which is our AI assistant that allows us to do these Python-based operations. What's great about this AI is that it has the context of all the data sets that we have. So separate from like using ChatGPT, you don't have to upload your file there or anything. It just has the data. It's connected to your drive here. And when you reference a data set just by name, it knows what you're talking about. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with this data set I actually made. So I actually had the AI create this actuarial data set for me. If you're looking to do just some sample analysis, you can tell the AI, hey, make this data set for me. So we did that. And now it's going to pass this data set into the Mito sheet. So the Mito sheet is our spreadsheet interface for Python. As I said before, a lot of our users are coming from spreadsheets but want to be able to automate tasks in Python. The Mito sheet's a really great resource for that. Um, so every edit I make in this Mito sheet is going to generate, oops, swing that over. Every edit I make in this Mito sheet is going to generate the equivalent Python. So for example, I have this actuarial data set here. I can just scroll through this data like it's a spreadsheet. Okay, these are my different policy IDs, issue date, policy type, etc. Let's say, for example, I want to look at the gender here, and it's in uppercase for some reason. Maybe I want it in lowercase. So I can use an actual spreadsheet function here, like I would just in Excel, and I can create that new column and apply that function there and generate the equivalent Python for it down here. So every edit we make in this spreadsheet interface is going to generate the equivalent Python. We work with a lot of banks, insurance companies, hedge funds, and a lot of their goal is to take spreadsheet audiences and bring them into the world of Python. The Miter sheet is obviously, very focused on the spreadsheet. As we get into more of the AI functionality, you can see how it's, if you're not coming from a spreadsheet background, we can really make this type of work palatable. But again, you can do the types of workflows that you're doing in Excel and generate Python scripts out of them, which can be used for automation. Um, so I added this new column here, and I used a spreadsheet formula in there. Any questions about the mental model here, or where we're getting at, or thoughts, reactions? Cool. I'll keep going. So I added that. Let's say now I want to make a pivot table, for example. So I have these different policy types, and I have all these different policy types here. I can look at them if I click on this and look at the values. Here are all the unique values I have in this column and a breakdown of each. Let's say I want to make a pivot table and I want to look at the policy types by breakdown of so we can even do it by gender. So I want to look at pivot table here in the rows. I'll put uh, the policy type as a value here. I'll put gender and I'll do the count value here. So here's oh, oops, I reversed this. Hold on, give me a second. In the row, I will put the gender value, and here I'll put the policy type. Cool. So now I can see a breakdown of, actually, let me make this here. Sorry. Policy type and gender. There we go. Now we have a breakdown for each gender, how it breaks down with the different policy types. And here we get the generated code, the pivot table there. Any questions about pivoting? It's a big piece of these guys here. Essentially, a lot of people are taking their Excel pivot tables and bring them over to Python by recreating them in here.
Yeah, one question. So, you do this transformation, then you decide, oh, actually, I want to get rid of that, and it wasn't useful for whatever reason. How do you kind of go back a step? Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. There's a few ways. So one is that you can just undo and you'll see that the generated code is gone. I just go back to my base data set here. You can also you can also like for example, with filtering, what the Mida will do is it will automatically give you the most up-to-date optimized version of the code. So let's say, for example, I want to apply a filter here that is, I just want to look at people with age at issue greater than 24. Great. Here we see the filter applied. If I just delete this, we'll see that the code goes away. So a lot of people, when they're beginners to Python, or if they're using ChatGPT to write their code for them, then they'll get scripts that are a little bit redundant, repetitive. Mito will automatically detect like what's the most up-to-date version of this script.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, no worries. Good call on. So let's move away from the Mito sheet a little bit. Now I have my data set here, and I might want to come over to the AI. I might say, um, make a visualization that explores um, this data set. I might even say make a few visualizations. Make a few visualizations that explore this data set. And this is our AI chat. And it will write this code for me, which then I can then apply to the cell. If I come down here, I can see all the different models I can choose between. Claude Haiku is our fastest model. Um, One thing that I have, or one thing you can do is you can attach your own model if you want. So a lot of enterprises we work with, they don't want to use these out of the box Claude or Gemini or ChatGPT models. They want to use either something open source or something local or something they built in house or an enterprise account they have with ChatGPT. So as long as you have an API key, you can connect it to the tool, and now the tool's running fully through your AI systems or your model instead of ours. And I'll apply this to the cell now and run it. And great. Here's a bunch of charts exploring this data set. As I can see, we have some box plots, pie charts. One thing that's the tool is really great for is designing of visualizations. So I might go back and say, my company, and I'm still selected on this cell here. So the chat mode is for a specific cell. So it's only going to edit the code that's in this cell right here. But I might say my company's colors are let's say green and blue. Please reflect that. Um, One thing you can do actually is you can even attach an image of your company's logo and it'll ingest that as part of the prompt and have the charts be redesigned with that in mind. Cool. So it's running here and now I can let's just let it finish. Cool. So if I click overwrite, what it will do is come back to that originally generated cell and that overwrite it with the new version of the code with our edits as part of it. You'll see here the green is the new code that's being added, and the red is what's being taken away. And so I'll run that. That will update. I'll just run the code. Cool. Here's our new charts with with the specific colors in mind. I could download these as a PDF, or I could make them an image in a slide deck or an email or something. You can tell the AI to do all of that, and it can download it right to your local computer. Any questions about some of this visualization creation we were going through? Cool. Let me just see how we're doing on time. Oh, something in the chat. Can we edit the code? Yes. All the code is fully editable. Um, this is all, I could try to think of a good example here, but like, let's say face amount by policy type. Where is that title? Uh, don't know where that title is in here, but yeah, you can go through and edit this as much as you like. Just because you've used AI to write it doesn't mean that you can't change it. Okay, yeah, here, like this is actuarial data summary. I could say I could just make this actuarial data. Cool. You'll see that will reflect in real time. And what's nice about our AI is it will always have the context of the updates that you made. So if you change something, the AI will stay up to date when continuing to edit. Um, cool. Let's uh let's keep going. So that was chat mode, which is for a single cell. I can edit any piece of data. I'm gonna actually open a new notebook now and um move to agent mode. So agent mode, where chat mode is for a single cell, agent mode is for multiple cells or building a full notebook for you. So I'm going to tell the agent, um, I am an actuary, create a notebook, create a notebook. Sorry, I can't type right for a second. That does a full analysis of the data in um, of some sample data you create. Please use visualizations when needed. So it'll think and then it'll start to run. One thing that's great about our AI is that it will actually tell you its assumptions. So we really try to make this as trustworthy for business use cases as possible. It's telling me these are all the assumptions it's making, or the key assumptions at least it's identifying as part of its analysis. And if any of those are incorrect or untrue, you can go back and correct it. But here on the left, it's giving me a written summary of the analysis that it's doing. I can break down each of these pieces with the underlying code. And then obviously in the notebook, we get that analysis as well. And this is the agent is where we see a lot of less advanced Python users come in. Maybe they're coming from a spreadsheet background or the business side of the team, and being able to build notebooks and collaborate with the more data science centric side of the team. Question: when using Mito, is data being collected by Mito? It also seems based on your pricing that you can't use your own enterprise AI without the enterprise license. Yeah, okay. So the first question, so is data being collected by Mito? So the data that gets collected is through the models. So when you use these out of the box models, you have to you're like, essentially agreeing to the like Gemini model data policy, which is why a lot of the enterprises elect to use the enterprise version where there's a bit more optionality for like connecting your own setups. But Darren, if you're interested in using your own key, happy to chat a little bit after the call and can help show you a demo of what that looks like and even let you try it out on your own stack. Darren, are you a Jupyter user?
We have used Jupyter, but we primarily just use like VS Code or something similar.
Cool. Sounds good. Um, cool. So the model is done, or the agent's done running. It's built this full notebook for me, and um, what I have down here at the bottom is a summary of what it's done. So it's added 5 cells, it's modified 0, and then it's removed 0. This makes sense because this notebook is starting from scratch. Um, and I can also review all of those changes as well, so I can see the diff for each cell. Obviously, for this, everything is new, so you'll see all of it in green, but I'll accept all of them by thinking that. Another thing I like to do with the agent is have it go through and document notebooks. So one thing that's tricky sometimes for less technical users to work with notebook-based automations in a Python environment is understanding, okay, what's actually happening in this notebook. So there's a few things here. One is that we have um, this, for any of these buttons here, we have this button here, which will actually have the AI explain the code in the AI chat, which can be really helpful. Just get a written explanation of what's happening over in the chat here. But we also have our agent can also document notebooks. So I could say, go through this notebook and document it with markdown cells. And this will take the notebook and actually make it add documentation to it so the user can understand what's happening. The use case for this, you can sort of see it from both sides. One could be I was given this notebook by maybe someone on my team who's more technical, and I need to have it explained to me. These markdown cells will explain to me what's going on. The other could be on the person who created the notebook, and I want to make it more presentation ready. So I'll have the agent go through and document it for me. You could also have the agent go through and clean it up, maybe making things that are redundant, deleting one of them or just making it a bit more polished. The agent's pretty good at that. Although it looks like the agent this time added all of the markdown cells to the top, which is not what I would want. So I would probably, uh, maybe it's, yeah, I'll probably stop the agent here for a second and undo these changes. Um, cool. So next time I maybe be more specific. Please add the um add the markdown styles interstitially as opposed to all at the top. Any questions about notebook documentation or the agent or some of the models we're using here or any of the AI you've seen so far? Cool. Okay. What if we want a small team, 4 or 5 people, to interact with Mito and the results or use Mito? It doesn't have to be simultaneously, but rather if one member of the team can view the exact results prompts that another person on the team did. Um, so you're asking, can we share the notebooks, Shastri? Is that your question? Yeah. So yeah, you can share the notebooks, and you can share the prompts as well. I'll maybe Joshua, you and I can connect. There's a few different ways you can do that. So maybe you and I could connect after and I could give you some more information on that. Um, it touches on what I think is the next piece, which is, a lot of people who are doing, some of you I imagine are already using Python and or maybe more experimenting with Python in notebooks. And I think a big pain point that people experience is, okay, I did all this work in Python. How do I make that usable to the rest of my team? How do I turn what I have in my notebook into something that is an artifact or something people outside of my Python environment can interact with? There's one solution for that, which is let's get more of the team using our notebooks and using a Python environment. Our AI tooling is, been really strong for that, and that's one of the main use cases other than data scientists using it themselves is bringing more people who aren't data scientists into the world of data science, and being able to all collaborate in the same environment. But there's also the idea of taking what you've done inside the environment and making it usable outside. And that's what the next feature is about. Let me see, I'm doing it on time. So, um, the next feature is our dashboarding feature. So you'll see this app mode button up here. What app mode will do, it will take our agent, and we've trained it to go through the notebook and turn the notebook into an interactive app that is not code-based, but has more of a UI, which I'll show you in a second. And that UI is using Streamlit, which is a really popular Mito dashboarding or Python dashboarding framework. Um, but the agent goes through and understands, okay, what in this notebook actually makes sense as a shareable app. And all you have to do is either click this or tell the agent to do it. So, for example, I have this, or it's actually not this, but this notebook here. I could say, build me an app that does X, Y, or Z, and what that app will look like, if you just click app mode, is this. So this is an app I had the agent build earlier. This was based on a notebook. This is a interactive actuarial analysis tool. This was built with one prompt just by saying, build this an interactive actuarial analysis agent. It's all dashboard. It's all based on Python. So for example, I have these input parameters here, and I'm getting the survival probability at different ages. Let's say I want to change this to 33. I want to make years forward 38, and you'll see these numbers will be reflected there. We also have mortality analysis here. So I can say, do I want to use the standard life table or upload a custom table that I have maybe? And I can change the age ranges here, and all of this will update in real time. And this was all built in one prompt just by just by saying, build me this table. So this app was built by me saying, build me an actuarial analysis app. And the agent can go and build that for you. And this the front end will give you, and also give you the Python backend as well. But you can also, what I was saying before, you can also take your existing notebook and just click that app mode button. Oops, sorry. It's a little annoying to scroll these sometimes. And it will take your notebook and turn it into an app. So this app came from just a prompt, where you can also have apps built off of a notebook itself. So you've already maybe done some thinking and processing in that notebook. Now you want to share it as an app instead of a static notebook. Um, any questions about this functionality? Cool. Okay. Um, I'm gonna stop sharing for 1 second. We got 14 people. Cool. So that's the main overview of the functionality we have. There's the chat feature, the spreadsheet interface, the agent, and the app creation feature. And those four components are all extensions. They all come in one package, or you can separate them into your Python environment. And the goal here is really making Python a way more usable means of analysis and automation for your organization. A lot of data scientists use it, but then also there's a lot of uh, less technical people who use it as well. Oh, Aaron, you system.
Yeah, I was going to ask a question. I mean, really, to play around with it, pip install Mito sheet. What's the command?
Yeah, I'll get that in a second. You can
Okay,
pip
cool.
install it right away.
I'm
No, there
jumping
we go. All
ahead.
good. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
No worries.
Yeah, you can pip install this. It's open source Python package. We have an open source version, and then some people point out there's some enterprise things as well if you want to get a little bit more custom. Um, But yeah, so we have some time. I sort of have like, I think I sort of like the half an hour version of this. So we could go for 3 more minutes. I think we have up until 3:50. So obviously people can stay as long as they like. I'll hang around a bit. But oh, we got some questions. Okay. How well does EDA work for unclean, messy claims data? Do you need to provide context of the data? Um, So Dan, are you asking like if you have a claims data set and you basically give it like a prompt of, hey, clean this data, what's the performance there?
Yeah, I was just curious if the prompt that you have set up uh, is able to digest like true messy like data sets that an actuary would typically have
Yeah,
versus
you mean
something that's really clean and by some other team, right? Like
yeah.
sometimes actuaries are just getting emails of Excel files and it's like that's where they start from versus something that's really clean and understood.
Yeah, you mean messier than like a few missing values.
Hmm.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the answer is yeah, definitely. I think that's a big use case. So, we actually had a different tool at one point that was about taking Excel files and translating them into Python. The Mito sheet has a little bit of that mental framework of I'm operating on my data that feels like Excel, but it's generating Python. But what you can do is you can attach files. So I've a process I've done a good amount is I'll attach an Excel file and say, hey, build me a notebook that replicates the process here. And I'll actually read in the file and read in different tables and read in different data sets. Um, so it's not like the perfect solution. Like I can't promise that every, 40 tab Excel model you put in is going to turn into a beautiful Python script. But as far as what's available, I think it's one of the best tools for ingesting Excel data into Python. That's one of the things that it's built for. I'd be happy to go through with some examples of that, um, maybe at a different time. But yeah, that's a pretty important piece, I'd say. And you can just attach that Excel file here and then add a prompt that says, "Hey," and you could even be like, "On this tab, this is the table I want," or you could say, "Bring in the whole file and help me clean it." The more specific you can be about how you want it cleaned, the better it's going to be. Like if you just say clean this and it's a 10 tab Excel file with different formatting on each, we will get some results and a good starting point, but not as good as if you can be more specific than that. But I would definitely say, I think to answer the question more directly, yeah, that's definitely one of the use cases we see is help me clean this messy Excel data and translate it into a Python system.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah,
And
no
Darren,
worries.
you're really talking about like EDA, exploratory data analysis. So like, hey, what is this sheet telling me? What are some interesting trends? Kind of that's what you're thinking about, right, Darren?
Yeah, like there's two steps to that. First is like the cleaning and
Yeah.
like the capabilities of that, plus the exploratory hidden insights. Help me analyze as like a, actuary assistant type of approach to do that heavy lifting first, and then I can dive into it afterwards.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think in terms of EDA, that's even a little bit more different than maybe what I was just saying. That's more like, I don't know, data like ingestion. EDA is probably actually a little bit easier for this. Like for example, let me open a new notebook here. Let me just see what. Hold on, I'm gonna go back to my base folder and I'm gonna open a new notebook here and I'm gonna say, sorry, the windows get a little messy sometimes. Um, I'm going to say, so actually, so I can again just tag any of my data sets. So I have a data set here called fund info. So I could say fund info, I can tag it and I can say, um, or run an EDA report on this data and give me three most important insights. So we'll do that. It'll write the code here. Cool. And here's the output. And sometimes actually this didn't give me like a good answer necessarily, but what I can do is I could even say, what are the top three, sorry, insights, I can't type, from this analysis. Cool. Yeah, and that'll give me a bit more of a written answer here in the notebook. And noticeably, it's the agent, or in this case, the chat feature, has an ability to understand, okay, what prompt here is wanting me to write code, what prompt to me is wants me to like answer a question of the data. And that's a big use case for the tool as well as giving people a low code, no code environment to ask questions of the data. A lot of tools do like connect your database, ask questions of your data. But then the issue with that sometimes is, okay, I've answered the question. Now what do I actually do with that information? So what's nice about this tool is we have that functionality, but also the ability to generate code and create dashboards off that information. And then what's nice here is it'll cite its sources, so it'll actually show me. Oh, actually, in this case, it's all one output, so that won't work super well. But normally, if you use the agent feature and it's a multi-cell analysis, if you click these, it'll tag where in the code it's getting that information from. What was I going to say? It does bring up a good point, though, of let me just see if there are other questions in the chat. Okay. One thing that is good to show is we do have a database connection feature. This database isn't super actuary relevant, so I apologize. But what I can do in the chat, I can actually tag my database. So this is Postgres. I set up this connection here. You can add as many connections as you like to different databases. But so I might say, I'm actually joining the chat. I'm going to tag Postgres, which is my database. I might say pull all the orders from 1998. This is a fake database I have. And I know that 1998 is the year I have. And what it will do is actually write SQL code for you. So if you're pulling from a database, instead of users having to write SQL themselves, they can come right in here and has the context of the tables in those databases, and they can run them here. And a big use case we see for the environment as well is, and here's that table, is pulling from multiple different data sources. So maybe I have some data in a database, some data in an Excel file. You can do that all at one prompt and run a reconciliation on those data sources or build visualizations or dashboards off those as well. But it's a good, Python's a really great sticky place between different disparate systems, and our AI is really good at handling those connections and then pulling it all together into one environment. Cool. Any other questions I can answer?